أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. This year we're going to focus on verb and verbs in Arabic grammar. As we recall that there are three parts of Arabic grammar, and that three parts of the speech as compared to 8 parts of speech in English, Arabic grammar has 3 parts only. First one is the nouns, the verbs, and the particles. So this year, last year, we talked about nouns, different attributes of nouns, characteristics of nouns, classification of nouns. This year, we'll focus on verbs. Now, first of all, I want to show you the contents of this topic. The first one is active verbs and passive verbs. When you say something like directly or indirectly, then past perfect and its forms. Past perfect means that the task has been completed, because the definition of verb is action in time, action in or with relation to time. If there is no time, it's not a verb. Like it has to be either in the past or right now or in future. So past perfect and its forms, past perfect containing weak or sick letters, imperfect verbs and its forms. Imperfect contains like present and future, because every moment in time is past is becoming future. That's why the present is not a separate entity in Arabic grammar. So the present and future are both combined. So then we'll talk about 6 triliteral verb forms. That what are the triliteral verb forms, which has 3 basic root letters, verbs of common use and their forms, imperfect verbs with weak sick letters, imperfect passive verbs, types of past perfect verbs, types of imperfect verbs, intransitive verbs with indirect object, and transitive verbs with a direct object involved. The forms or babs, bab mean a door or chapter, patterns of verbs containing weak letters, imperative verb commanding, imperative verb prohibitive, and defective verbs, that's known as af'ale naqisa, means defective, and approaching verbs, that's af'ale muqariba. So this is for our classification. We'll go to the next page. Now, the first category we have is active or maruf. In Arabic, ayn, ra, and fa, 3 letters, are known as urf. This word maruf is from urf. Urf means recognition, to recognize something. Maruf means something recognized or popular. Active or maruf, and passive or majhul. Majhul is from the word jahal, jim, ha, lam, and that means not knowing. Somebody who is ignorant is known as jahil, and fail majhul means we don't know who the doer of action is, the file, the subject. Subject is known as doer of action. Every action has to have a doer of action. So remember one thing, that all verbs will have a doer of action with them. Either it's hidden in them or it's written right after the verb, who is the doer of the action. So let's go to the active verb. The active verb is something that is in this, the file or the subject is known. We know who did the action. For example, daraba. Daraba means to explain something, to give example of something, or to hit. He hit. And Zaraba, he hit. So he is already in there. He hit. Zarabat means zarabtu. This should be zarabtu. That means I hit. Passive term, passive verbs. So these are the active ones which are direct. He hit or she hit or I hit. But passive verb is where we don't know who did it. It was done. So in this, the subject is unknown. For example, Dureba, he was hit. Duribtu, and I got hit. So in that way, I don't know who hit me, or I'm not saying who hit me, but I said I got hit. That's the passive tense. Now, we can end here for the first class. We'll talk about past perfect in next class. Jazakallah.